So today's video was inspired by a comment that I got. I'll throw it up on the screen to give him some credit for his comment. But it made me think about the type of videos that I make and how I really don't dive too deep into my personal experiences. Like, I give you guys kind of like the surface level, but I never really give you like specific examples, right? So today's video is going to be why I don't have that many friends, and why you probably shouldn't either, and why the friends that you currently have right now are not really your friends. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I'm going to tell you a story. So it's about 2020. I'm in my second year of college, and I'm living the college life, living the college experience, doing a bunch of degenerate shit, going out, drinking, smoking, barely going to class. Grades are falling off. I'm becoming a significantly worse athlete on the soccer field. Like, everything's just going in the wrong direction, right? And it was at this time where my life was decreasing the fastest, where I thought I had the best relationships, which is odd. And it was the friendships that I had at this time where I called them like my brothers. Like, I thought that I would be friends with them for the rest of my life. Like, I would die for them, whatever. But the second that they got a chance to take advantage of me and use me for something that would benefit them and only them, they took it in a heartbeat. And it's why, even to this day, almost 5 years later, that I still struggle with letting people into my life because of this incident. So when we would buy our drugs, basically, one person would pay the dealer and the other guys would just cash up the person who paid, and like, it would switch every so often, right? But after a while, I noticed it at the time, but I never really thought about it. But I was the one paying almost every single time. And a lot of the times they would be like, oh yeah, like, my parents are going to send me some money. I'll send it to you like in a couple of days or like a week. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, no problem. But over time, like, I probably lost hundreds of fucking dollars paying for this shit and them never paying me back, right? So, but money is fine. Like, you can get that shit back. Like, I wasn't really too worried about it at the time. Now, looking back, having a few extra $100,000 in the current stage I am right now wouldn't be too bad, because it would give me a little bit more bandwidth to be able to have a longer time frame of not being able to have to work a job and be able to go completely all in on YouTube, which is what I'm doing right now. But as I mentioned, I only have a given amount of time given the amount of money that I have. So that was the first incident. But the second one was, I noticed more and more often where we all used to go hang out together. Like, there was a group of us, and we all used to go hang out together, do everything together. Obviously, like, the degenerate shit, but we would do other things too. Like, we would go play soccer together. We would sometimes go work out together. Like, it wasn't all degenerate shit, but most of it was, right? And we would all go do that together. Over time, it got to a point where eventually it would just be a couple of them going off on their own, and I wouldn't be invited, or another guy might not be invited, and a couple of us would go. So, like, a couple of people would be getting left out instead of all of us just consistently going all together every single time. So that was the second red flag. So the third incident, and which honestly was the final straw, was that I was living with one of them at the time as well, and I keep my wallet in the same spot, right? Like, in the room I was living at, my wallet stayed in the same spot in my bag, in the same zipper fucking pocket that only I knew about, right? And one day I woke up and there was over $100 missing out of my wallet, right? Now, mind you, the state of my mind that I was in at the time, I didn't think anything of it. So I just thought somebody broke into our room when I was like at practice or at class or whatever. But so I go to my RA and I'm like, listen, I've had over $100 taken out of my wallet. Can you like check the cameras or whatever? They didn't have any cameras, shocker, like in the halls or whatever, to see who was going in and out of the room. So she started asking me questions, and she was like, well, does anyone else know where you keep your wallet? And I was like, no. I was like, only I know that I keep it in the same spot every single time. And she's like, well, do you think it could have been your roommate? And I was like, no. I was like, he wouldn't do that. Like, at the time, I was like, that's my brother. Like, he wouldn't do that shit to me. But then I'm thinking about it, like, he's the only one that's in the room long enough to know where I would keep it. So, like, I bring it up to him one day, and because it took me a couple of days to muster up the fucking balls to bring it up to him, because I didn't like having difficult conversations like that at the time. But I brought it up to him after a few days, and I was like, yo, bro, I was like, I've had over $100 taken out of my wallet. Like, I'm not saying that you did it, but, like, do you know anything about it? And he's like, no. So he goes and, like, talks to the RA as well, like, tries to help the whole situation, figure it out or whatever. Now, mind you, to this day, I don't honestly know 100% if it was him, but I can tell you for 100% certainty that on his desk was a old-fashioned $20 bill, like, that was on top of a bunch of other bills. That was exactly like one of the ones that I had in my wallet, and it was one of the bills that was missing out of my wallet. So I'm just thinking, like, okay, that's like, could it be a coincidence? Maybe. Could it not be? I don't know. But the crazier part was, remember that I mentioned that when we would go buy our drugs from the dealer or whatever, like, one person would pay and everybody else would cash app. This time he paid, and when he would pay, he would usually cash app. But when he bought this time, he paid in fucking cash. So then, and it was this sounds so fucked up, but it was a lot of drugs. Like, it was almost $100 worth of drugs. Another coincidence. And he paid in cash instead of just cash apping him or Venmoing him like he usually does. So that's what, like, clicked in my mind, and I was like, okay, that's fucking strike 3. Like, I gotta fucking get out of here. So I ended up halfway through the semester moving into a room of my own on a different floor, like, same building but different floor, like. And to be honest with you, I never really told him why. Like, I just made up some bullshit excuse about how, like, oh, like, I want to have my girl over more, and, like, I want the privacy of, like, my own room or whatever, and, like, my grades are lacking, I want to spend more time, like, focused on school. Like, I told him some bullshit excuse or whatever, basically. But I never told him that it was because I thought that he was the one that stole the money. And obviously I had no proof, and I still don't even have 100% proof to this day. So there was no way of, like, telling somebody to get him to give me my money back, so I just had to eat it, right? So that's the story of why, even to this day, I have an extremely hard time of letting people in my circle. And the reason why the only people that I do consider my friends are people that I've been in contact with consistently for multiple years. And the people that I'm closest with, I've been in consistent contact with and had a relationship with for over a decade. So it's like, you know, when you want to let people in your circle, you really gotta peel back every single layer and really see what they're about at their core, because you can have a friendship with somebody for a year or 2 years, and they're just delaying that process long enough to where you get comfortable enough to where you let down your guard for 1 fucking second, and that's that one moment that they can take advantage of you and benefit solely for themselves based on the shit that you can give them. Whether it's money, whether it's you putting your time and effort and your energy into something that they don't have, like, whatever it might be, just really study human behavior and human characteristics, because there's a lot of bad people out there, and I know there's a lot of good people out there too, but try your best to go through all the people that you consider your friend with a fine-tooth comb and really peel back every single layer to find out who they genuinely are as a person. And if you can find one of those people that is genuinely a good person at heart and that wants the best for you and wants to see you succeed, then you found a really good one, and you want to keep that person in your life as long as you possibly can.
In 2 miles, take exit 84.
So yeah, shout out to the guy who commented that comment about telling personal stories. I actually really enjoyed telling that story because it was something that I honestly have been wanting to get off my chest for a while. So yeah, I hope that helped you guys, and remember, success is not the best revenge, it's the only revenge.